So thank you very much, Andrew. Just let me start by telling you that this meeting is really very timely for the Innovative Medicines Initiative. We'll just launch our second phase with a budget of over 3 billion euros. And we will have our first proposal coming in just a few weeks, and we will launch a new call at the end of the year. And basically, what IMI 2 is doing is bringing this endeavor of multi-stakeholder collaboration to the next level. The key word in IMI 2, as in IMI 1, will remain collaboration. What we did in IMI 1 is really to use mainly collaboration to address the major scientific challenges regarding disease understanding, regarding identification of new drug targets, development of new biomarkers. Now we have to use, and we start to use, collaboration for another key pillar of therapeutic innovation, which is indeed patient access. And actually, if you look at IMI 1, and we commit so far 2 billion euros to this initiative, we launched more than 50 public-private consortia. Actually, several important tools and methods were already developed which will help the development of new pathways for patient access. But just perhaps a few examples and just in a nutshell what has been achieved so far. I think first changes in mindset. I think that nowadays industry realize that they will find in the academic world scientists able to understand the priorities and the needs of the industry, and they are ready to work together. Second, the academia understand now that by working with industry, they could achieve what's the goal of most of the academics, which is indeed to translate their results into changes in clinical care. But also academics realize that what matters to them, which is their scientific production, their publication, that by collaborating with industry, they can increase the impact of their scientific production. Recently, in collaboration with Thomson Reuters, we complete an analysis which demonstrates that by and large, by working in IMI, scientists get a better chance to be published in high-ranked journals, and we are quite proud to say that we are at the level of other well-known organizations, such as the Wellcome Trust here, and the Foundation for the NIH in the US. And I will come back to that because I think it's very important to realize that research and science should remain the key pillar of this multi-stakeholder collaboration. So just to give you perhaps 3 examples, by collaboration it was possible to develop the first ever human beta cell line, which can be used in drug development for diabetes. This was developed in an academic lab. It is now commercialized by a small biotech, and it is used by large pharma companies active in the diabetes field. The second example is in the field of schizophrenia, whereby gathering and pooling data on more than 10,000 patients, 5 companies, by agreeing indeed to share their knowledge, they were able to show that it's possible to reduce by 40% the number of patients to be enrolled in trials for efficacy for new antipsychotics. And another example is the remarkable achievements of our consortium dedicated to autism. And again, I have no time to tell you, for example, that they demonstrate that it's possible to reverse the brain changes associated with autism even after completion of brain development. But more importantly, they developed the basis the scientific basis which now allows the European Medicine Agency to develop guidelines for new drug candidates for this condition. And I consider that this is one of the best indicators that indeed the research which is generated by this multi-stakeholder collaboration might have and will have a major impact on clinical care. Now, what will come next, and I will build on the presentation of Anne-Georg. You start by talking about creative intelligence. I think that's extremely important because it demonstrates that indeed, again, we need more science, more research, even for questions like new model for adaptive pathways. New science, new research, and probably new type of expertise. I'm not sure that all the expertise necessary to develop these new pathways is present in this room, for example. I'm sure that we have to discuss more with School of Economics, with business schools, with law schools, to really look from a research and scientific perspective how we can develop these new pathways. And I think that it's this type of approach which will generate this new creative intelligence that you mentioned, because those questions are so complex. Uncertainty. How will we measure uncertainty? I think that's not obvious. Again, I think that we need science research to define not only what is uncertainty, but how you measure uncertainty. Patient engagement. That's very interesting because, as you know, DMA is already leading in IMI 1 a project. The acronym is PROTECT. And this project is developed really interesting models and algorithms to, in a way, avoid the repetition of a number of situations, such as the situation with natalizumab for multiple sclerosis, where actually if we would have been able indeed to engage patients and to know from the beginning their vision of the risk and benefits, we would not have experienced this difficult situation of withdrawing a drug and then reintroducing a drug. So this is already ongoing, but we should certainly invest more in this type of approach. Data generation, interoperability of data, responsible data sharing. This is already on the agenda of IMI, especially in collaboration with CDISC. We have to do more on this. We just heard yesterday that at the University of San Francisco with the I-SPY 2 trial, there are also efforts done in collaboration with CDs. This is essential. And just in a nutshell, I think you alluded to that. It's about removing, in a way, the boundary between clinical research and clinical practice. When you mention about the use of hospital and, to introduce in hospitals this new approach to data generation and handling, for me, that's really the best demonstration that if we want to move forward, we have to change not only clinical research, but also clinical practice in general. So I think I will just stop here by telling you that I think it's very important that everyone considered extremely seriously the wish list, not only from the regulators and the payers. And I think that, things are moving. I think that industry is moving because in initiative like IMI, a lot depends on the willingness of industry to change its usual way to proceed. And I think this is ongoing. But there are additional movements which are necessary, and I hope that this type of meetings will help to implement those changes. Thank you.